السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
بسم الله. Can you hear me?
شكرا لك.
بسم الله.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال ولو أخذها الشفيع فبنى فيها أو غرس ثم استحقت رجع بالثمن لأنه تبين أنه أخذ بغير حق.
ما for you reading from?
هذا العين before that ولو أخذها الشفيع فبنى فيها أو غرس.
Okay. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Was that the one you didn't understand yesterday?
جي.
So بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اشرح لنا صدورنا ويسر لنا أمورنا واحلل عقدة من ألسنتنا يفقهوا أقوالنا. اللهم نور قلوبنا بمعرفتك واشرح صدورنا بنور كتابك وسنة نبيك واحفظنا عن زلل وخطأ في بيان مرادك. اللهم استعملنا ولا تستبدلنا، هادين مهتدين غير ضالين ولا مضلين غير هالكين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So yesterday we had done that if it was the chapter of addition, subtraction and so forth, damage to the property either by the mushtari himself or through divine circumstances. So the first was regarding the mushtari, where he added some addition, added to the plot, he planted something, or he built a building. So there we mentioned that the shafi has a choice. He can either take it for the full price and give the value of the building and the crops in its raw state. That means unbuilt or unplanted state. And if he wants to, he can ask the mushtari to remove it. So that's if the mushtari does that. Now we're doing it, what if the shafi does it? Well, akhadha shafi, right? So the shafi took the ownership of the building that he made shufa'in. Fabanabiya, so thinking it's his, he built on it, it made an extension, whatever, or gharasa, or planted some crops on the plot. Thumma stuhikat. Then it happened that somebody else claimed right to it, someone who had a greater right over it. Like I said yesterday, maybe there was a sharik that nobody knew about, and he came and said that I have more right than you. Or maybe there was a person who the house actually belonged to. Then the son sold the house on behalf of his aging mother, but the mother wasn't aware of it. And the house is in the mother's name. So she came and said, but the house doesn't belong to my son. He's got no right to sell it. Who told him to sell it? I want the house back. That's it.
جي.
So Raja with Thaman. In that case, he can only claim back what he paid for the house. Whatever the house was sold for, he can only claim that amount back. He cannot claim for his buildings and extensions, and he cannot claim for his plantations and crops. You follow? This is
جي.
different to the way if the mushtari did so. Understood?
جي.
Why can't he claim? لأنه تبين أنه أخذه بغير حق. Because it became clear that he did all of this unrightfully. He had no right to do that because it didn't belong to him. ولا يرجع بقيمة البناء والغرس لا على البائع, and he cannot claim back the value of the buildings, constructions, or the plantation crops, neither from the ba'i, the seller that he bought it from, in akhadha minhu, if he had taken ownership of it from him directly, ولا على المشتري, neither from the mushtari, in akhadha minhu, if he had taken it from the mushtari. You follow?
Yeah.
So he's got no claim against the original owner, neither against the seller that he bought it from, neither from the mushtari that he took it from, as the case may be. Okay, so this is different. So he basically is going to lose out, in short, unlike where he took it from the mushtari. And the mushtari had made additions. Understood?
Yeah. Yeah.
وعن أبي يوسف رحمه الله أنه يرجع. However, Imam Abu Yusuf rahimahullah says, no, he can. He has a right to claim back his money. For that, just as how he had, the mushtari had a right to claim back the money if he had done so. لأنه متملك عليه فنزل منزلة البائع والمشتري. Why? Because uh, the house was ownership of the house taken over him. So therefore, meaning it was passed from his ownership to somebody else's. So therefore, that person who claimed it, we will treat them like buyer and seller, buyer or mushtari. So when somebody else claimed ownership from him, it is as if he sold that house to that third party claiming rightful ownership. Understood? Because there's a transference of ownership from him to someone else. So therefore, they will be treated like a buyer and a seller. And a buyer and a seller, if this was to take place as we discussed above, he can claim back his the money, the value of his additions and so forth. Okay?
Yeah.
However, we're saying, well, فرق على ما هو المشهور. However, the difference based upon the mashhur riwayah, the mufta bihi qawl, the difference between if the mushtari has to do so and the shafi takes it from him, and the shafi doing so and somebody else, a rightful owner, takes it from him. The difference between those two masail are what? إن اشترى أن المشتري مغرور من جهة البائع. That in the first case, the mushtari had been deceived from the side of the seller. He was under the impression that this person here is the owner and there's no claim to the house. And in that good faith thinking that he is the owner, he went ahead and did some extensions, planted some crops and so forth. But then it turned out that actually he was not the rightful owner. So we will say that he was deceived, sort of, from the seller. وَمُسَلَّةٌ عَلَيْهِ مِنْ جِهَتِهِ. And this was imposed upon him from his side. Okay?
Yeah.
However, وَلَا غُرُورَ وَلَا تَسْلِيطَ فِي حَقِّ الشَّفِيعِ. There's no gharar. There's no deception. Neither is there any forceful takeover. There's no hostile takeover with regards to the Shafi. No, sorry, you can say tasdeeq, rather you can say he was given the right. That he was given the right to make tasarruf from the Shafi, from the Ba'i. Whereas in the case of the Shafi, he was neither deceived, neither was he granted authority, because the Ba'i wasn't the real owner. He had no right to give authority in the first place. Why is this not the case in the case of the Shafi? Because لأنه مجبور عليه. Because the Shafi took ownership by force. He didn't have to. Nobody invited him to the party. Nobody told him that you have to take the house. It was his choice. And he imposed his ownership over the mushtari. It was not a willing buyer, a willing seller. You follow?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So as we will say in South Africa, since he hashed his way, you won't be able to claim anything for that, because nobody's to blame. Nobody did anything to him. Nobody deceived him. Nobody forced him into taking the place, and nobody offered it to him in the first place. Okay.
Yeah.
So from here also you understand how a subtle difference in the masala can change the whole masala. Outwardly to us, people like us, seems like it's the same thing. But look at the understanding of the fuqaha, and look at how penetrative the minds are. MashaAllah, taqabbalallah, radiallahu anhum ajma'in. That there's a difference between it. It's not the same. Bismillah.
قال وإذا هدمت الدار أو احترق بناؤها أو جف شجر البستان بغير فعل أحد فالشفيع بالخيار إن شاء أخذ بجميع الثمن لأن البناء والغرس تابع حتى دخلا في البيع من غير ذكر فلا يقابلهما شيء من الثمن ما لم يصر مقصودا ولهذا يبيعها مرابحة بكل الثمن في هذه الصور بهذه الصورة.
Right. So previously we had done with regards to addition, additions to the property. Now we're going to do what if something on the property was destroyed? Then subtractions or deficiency that occurred to some deficiency occurred to the property. Right. Now this nuqsan can either be through natural means and divine means, or it could be because the mushtari himself brought about some deficiency and nuqsan in the property. You follow?
Yeah.
So we're first dealing with the second one first. Sorry, the first one first, right? Where it was due divine interference. Something happened to the property. Not divine interference, through divine will, something happened to the property. Otherwise, a natural disaster in simple terms. So they're saying, وَإِذَنْ هَدَمَتِ الدَّارُ, that if the house collapsed, أو احترق بناؤها, or its structures caught on fire. Okay. أو جف شجر البستان, or the trees in the orchard plantation went dry. بغير فعل أحد, without anybody's doing so. Others, this is آفة السماوية. فالشفيع بالخيار. In this case here now, because the nuqsan didn't come about because of anybody doing anything, so in this case the shafi has a choice. إن شاء أخذ بجميع الثمن. If he wants to, he can take it, but he must pay the full price. He's not entitled to any kind of discount because of damages to the property or the plot. لأن البناء والغرس تابع. Why? Because the structures on the property and the crops in the orchard of the plantation, this is tabi', so it is subservient to the plot. Understand? It is secondary. حتى دخلا في البيع من غير ذكر, to the extent that they automatically enter into a contract without even mentioning it. Now, to understand this, you must remember in the Hanafi madhab, there are certain things that when you buy an item, it's automatically understood to be part of the sale without you mentioning it. For example, when you buy a house, the keys are automatically included. You don't have to say that you're buying the keys and so forth. And same thing with the trees on the property, and so whatever trees and plants in the garden it might be there, it's automatically included in the sale of the house. And there are certain things that are not automatically included. You have to specify that you want them included in the deal for them to become specific. For example, the furniture in the house. The furniture in the house is personal belonging of the owner, previous owner. You follow? All the fixtures and fittings will automatically be included, besides maybe the curtain railings. And otherwise, fixtures and fittings, the lights, and that is all included automatically. You don't have to itemize everything in a house. You understood?
Sure.
So that's what he's saying here. That because the building, the walls and everything, and the plantation in the orchard automatically comes into the deal when you are purchasing a property or a plot or a garden, a orchard. So therefore, you don't have to mention them when purchasing. Automatically understood. فلا يقابل شيء من الثمن. So because it is tabi, because it is subservient or secondary, therefore there is no separate amount that covers the cost of it. It's included in the cost. Okay. The only way it will become excluded is, like I said, is if it is mentioned specifically that I don't include this, but it specifically mentions excluding A, B, and C, then it's excluded. Or if it is damaged through the willful, intentional act of the person. Understood?
Sure.
So that's what he's saying here. فَلَا يُقَابِلُهَا شَيْءٌ مِنَ الثَّمَنِ مَا لَمْ يُصِرْ مَقْصُودًا. So therefore, there is no part of the price is extends to it until it becomes maqsood. It's no longer a tabi'a, but it becomes primary. It's no longer subservient or a secondary, but it becomes primary. So it becomes primary, meaning that you specifically intend to exclude it or include it then. Okay? ولهذا يبيعها بمرابحة لكل ثمن. And it's for this reason that in a murabaha deal, it is bought for the entire price, for the entire amount. Now, there are 4 types you might have done. There are 4 types of deals. Obviously, looking at the transaction from different perspectives, they will be different. It will be divided into different categories. So, from the perspective of the price, if it's higher or lower than what you purchased it for yourself, it is of 4 types. Like we probably did this in the Kitab al-Buyur right in the beginning. So you got, we did one, was it last week? At Tawliya. Remember Tawliya last week?
Yeah.
So there's Tawliya, then there's Murabaha, then Musawama, and I forget the 4th one now, the name of the 4th one. So if you are selling equal to cost prices, Musawama, as we did last week, and you have to, the thing is, you have to specifically mention that this landed me so much and I'm selling to you for the exact same amount. Murabaha, I paid so much for it, I'm selling it to you with 10 rand profit, 50 rand profit. So that's Murabaha. No ribh. Tawliya is where you are purchasing it for less than the purchase price. And I think the other 4th one is Mutlaq, where you don't mention how much you paid for it, you're just selling it at whatever price, instead without mentioning whether you paid more or less. Understood?
Sure.
No, maaf, sorry. Tawliya is where you pay equal to the amount. Musawama is where you and the mushtari come to some agreement on the price. So Musawama, when you and the purchaser, you come to some agreement on the price. That's Musawama. Tawliya is you pay for it. You sell it at cost. You sell it at cost. And the 4th one is where you sell it below cost. I can't remember the name for that now. So you sell it for below cost. Got that?
Sure.
So in a murabaha deal, you don't have to mention it separately. So you're telling the person, I bought this for 10,000, I'm selling for 12,000. So it will be automatically be included in a murabaha deal. بكل ثمن. في هذه الصورة بخلاف ما إذا غرق نصف الأرض. Contrary to if half the land has to be go underwater. what's the word called underwater? It's become flooded basically. Right? If half the property or the half the orchard, the plantation becomes flooded. حيث يأخذ الباقي بحصته. In this instance, yeah, you will take the remainder uh, in proportion to its amount. So if there's 10,000 Rand for the entire thing, half of it got waterlogged, then you will only pay how much? 50%. Okay?
Okay.
Why? Because in this case here, the actual maqsool has been lost. The property itself has been damaged, not something connected to the property, not something which is subservient or secondary to the property. You follow?
Okay.
لأن الفائد بعض الأصل, because what was lost is a portion of the actual primary the primary thing that is being sold, the primary mabia. Understand?
Okay.
So that's the first choice. You can take it for the full amount, despite the damages. وإن شاء ترك, or you can leave it. You say, no, I don't want it. لأن له أن يمتنع عن تملك الدار بماله. Why? Because the Shafi has the right to refrain from taking ownership of a house with his money. You follow?
Okay.
Any questions?
No, alhamdulillah, understood it.
See, carry on.
Because water is a foreign thing. It's not a.
Akonya?
I say because water is not what you normally expect compared to the other two.
No. It's got nothing to do with the water. It's got to do what was damaged. Was the asal damaged or was the tabi damaged? The example of the flooding is because the actual property itself was damaged. The land itself, the plot itself was damaged, which is the asal. You follow? The building and everything is subservient to the plot. So it's got nothing to do with what damaged it. It's got to do what was damaged. Was it the actual the asal that is damaged or the tabi that is damaged? You follow?
Okay, so the land.
But because the land
itself,
which is the objective of the sale, that got damaged. That's why in that case you can take. In that case, you can take the proportion to the amount lost.
Yeah, understood.
Qala, Imam Qudri Rahman says, why I'm saying Qudri every time? Because remember, Hidaayah is made up of two matan. Qudri and Jami Saghir. So sometimes he quotes from Qudri, sometimes from Imam Muhammad Jami Saghir. So that's why Qala, it's something important to identify who the Qa'il is. Anyway. So Imam Qudri Rahman says, in نَقَضَ الْمُشْتَرِي الْبِنَاء. Now this is now, like carrying on, if the mushtari himself damages the property, not through a natural disaster. وَإِن نَقَضَ الْمُشْتَرِي الْبِنَاء. If the mushtari himself demolishes the building, the structure. قِيلَ لِلشَّافِعِيِّ, it will be said to the Shafi'i, إِن شِئْتَ فَخُذِ الْأُرْسَةَ بِحِصَّتِهَا. If you want to, you can take the land, empty plot, in proportion to its in proportion to its value, or in shi'ta fada, or if you want, you can leave it. Right? Why? Because we mentioned above, gave the reason above, that something only becomes maqsood under two circumstances. One is mentioned specifically in the deal, or damages were done directly onto it. It laughs, right? Because that intentional, willful damage was done to it. So here, the person bought the property, a house. He didn't like the house, so he thought he was going to throw it down and then rebuild it. Understand? So he threw it down, but then the Shafi popped up. The Shafi wasn't happy with that the person now got rid of the old house that was standing there. So he has a choice. He can either take it minus the property, otherwise we'll subtract the price of the house. What is the price of the plot now as it is empty, and what was the price when the house was there? Whatever the difference is, that is what you will pay. or if he wants
جي
we can leave it. Okay.
جي
ولأنه صار مقصودا بالإتلاف, because now it's no longer tabi, but now it has become the maqsood, it has become the objective by its destruction. فيقابل شيء من الثمن, so therefore in this instance some portion of the price will be extended to it. بخلاف الأول, contrary to the first مسألة, لأن الهلاك, because halak, so halak is one and itlaf. Halak is natural disaster. Itlaf, willful destruction. So because by natural disaster, لأن الأول لأن الهلاك بآفات سماوية, because the destruction in the first masla above was due to a heavenly disaster. وليس للشافعي أن يأخذ النقط أو النقط الضمة or the kasra. The Shafi doesn't have the right to take the debris. The nuq refers to the building that was thrown down as lying there now in the shambles, the debris, is Debris. He doesn't have a right to take the debris. لأنه صار مفصولا فلا يبقى تبعا. Why? Because now it is no longer connected to the property. It's separated. It's separated from the property. So in other words, it's become a movable object. It was immovable and now it's become movable. You're following? فلم يبقى تبعا, so therefore it no longer remains subservient to the plot because it's been separated. Okay, now this is actually connected to the chapter which is coming afterwards, the next chapter. There they will tell you that you're only allowed to make shufa in immovable property. There's no shufa in movable property. Okay, so for example, somebody has a car, you can't claim shufa on his car. You follow? So shufa is only in immovable property. There's no shufa in immovable. There's shufa is only in immovable property. There's no shufa in movable property. So once this building has been demolished and now it's just like broken bricks and stuff, it's become manqul. It's become movable. It's no longer immovable, so therefore there's no shufa. So that's why you can't take the debris. You can't say, okay, keep the bricks and stuff here. I can use some of that stuff to rebuild. You follow? If you want to, you can buy it, but you can't take it. You following? Understanding?
جي
Okay, time is up. Okay, I wanted to finish it. Khair. Inshallah, try tomorrow. Any questions? Anything you can understand?
طبعا السبب
Alhamdulillah. Gee, subhanallah, bihamdi, subhanallah, bihamdi, nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta, nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.